to Frederick Advice Givers, episode 126. I'm here at the Muse with Whitney Dahlberg. Thanks for joining us again, Whitney.
Thanks for having me.
So Whitney, we had her on in the fall of 2015, right?
I think so, yes.
Yep. Almost, 101 episodes ago. So Whitney was on our first batch, episode 25. She is entrenched in Frederick, has a great store downtown called the Muse on 19 North Market Street. Whitney's got a great story. She's got a great business concept. What I do love about Whitney is that she does give back to the Frederick community. If you do anything downtown, you always hear about the Muse or hear about Whitney being involved. So thank you for all you do for downtown.
Thanks.
All right, so the audience that might not know you, first of all, I suggest you go back and listen to episode 25 of Advice Givers. That gives Whitney's backstory. But again, give us your backstory, Whitney.
Sure. Well, I have always been interested in art and in crafts. So in school, I took a lot of home ec classes, and I went to Parsons for fashion design when I was in high school. And I realized it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do, but I really loved parts of it. So I went to school for art and psychology. I was thinking art therapy.
Okay.
I did a lot of retail, and it seems like retail and art therapy kind of go hand in hand a lot of times. So I did open up the store about 15 years ago after being a manager of Hex and a merchandise manager of The Gap.
Okay.
And I really wanted to focus on handmade things and American made. So the store is 100% American made and 70% locally made. We also do a lot of classes so that kind of customers can see all the work that's involved that goes into making something. And also it's fun and they really enjoy it too. So do I.
So after our initial interview, we got a ton of feedback of local business owners and local artists that actually sell merchandise in your shop, correct? So what percentage of your store is local?
About 70% is local. We have a multitude of artists that are amazing right here in Frederick. So There really is no reason to go outside of Frederick unless it's something that I can't find or something that really wows me. If I do see something that kind of is an overlap with someone local, I definitely choose the local person over anywhere else. And it's just really great to do local because a lot of times we'll have an artist in here demonstrating. Mm-hmm. Laura Silberman, who's Clay by Laura, she's come in and done clay demonstrations. In March, it's National Craft Month, so we have the whole entire month. We have artists that come in and do various demos, different things. We've had painters in the window. I mean, you name it. It's just a lot of fun, and I wouldn't be able to do that if all my artists were, all spread out over the country.
Exactly. So why did you choose downtown Frederick? Have you been in this location for 15 years?
Yes,
okay.
I opened in 2003 in this location.
Okay, so everywhere in the world,
mm-hmm.
And you chose downtown Frederick. Why?
Well, I was living in Baltimore, so it was true I didn't have a lot of ties anywhere else, so I could choose anywhere that
mm-hmm.
I wanted to, and I did choose Frederick. And it's because I spent a lot of time going around looking at different downtown locations, and when I came to Frederick, I always say this, but it is true, all the clouds parted, the sun came out, and it just really felt like the right thing. I remember going to the Dancing Bear toy store and talking to Tom, and I got such a good vibe there. I went to, it was called Refuge Gallery, which one of the people that you did a podcast with, Chrissy Gamble Jewelry,
mm-hmm.
she had a store there, and I met her, and I just got such great feedback, and I felt really welcomed and warmed, and I loved, the architecture and everything about Frederick, and I just knew immediately that Frederick was the place I wanted to be.
The downtown section of Frederick is very unique with all these small businesses and restaurants, and we have the first Saturday. Downtown Frederick does a great job promoting their small businesses.
Yes, I would totally
and you're
agree.
definitely involved in that niche.
Yes. I mean, the Downtown Frederick Partnership, I can't say enough about them because when I came, I went to one of the meetings, one of my first months there, and ever since then, you can't get any more support than the Downtown Frederick Partnership. It's a wonderful organization.
I agree. All right, so the next two questions, we loosen up here a little bit.
Okay.
So, what's the last purchase that you splurged on?
Well, I have a very big purchase ongoing right now. We are renovating our kitchen.
Awesome.
I've never renovated a kitchen before, and it is a splurge.
Okay.
But we have owned our house, my husband and I, for 2 years, and it was a foreclosure, and so it had been sitting empty for about 3 years. The floor was coming up. I mean, the peel and stick tile on the ground. I mean, it was in bad shape. So I lived with it for 2 years, and finally we are nearing completion. But it's been a splurge.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember at episode 25, I think you had just purchased your house recently.
So I think so.
Yeah, 2 years flies by, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
All right, so what hobby or interest could you spend all day doing?
I don't really think I could pick just one.
Okay.
I love art. I love crafts. I do so many different things. I love to write. I've since this summer been writing a column for the Frederick News Post about kind of DIY and a little bit of how that affects your your emotional and mental state, and I really do enjoy that. So I've been loving writing. I also this year have been undertaking a big project called the 52 Collage Project. I kind of invented it myself, where I'm doing a piece of artwork every single week for the entire year to kind of document my year, and also to make sure that I put art in the forefront of my life, because it can get pushed back behind everything else.
So that's you doing the artwork, or that's your spotlighting? Okay, that's you.
It's me. Every single week I do a piece of artwork, mostly fiber-based. I do a lot of stitching. And I have a solo show coming up next year at the Delaplane, so you can see all 52.
Awesome.
And I have a couple other shows too that are going to happen from it. So I love doing that. And then I also learned how to knit this year. So I mean, I could spend my entire day just doing all of those things.
Awesome. So that ties into your passion of what you do here at the Muse.
It does.
All right. So when you wake up in the morning, Whitney, and come in here every day, what's inside you that gets you motivated to go?
Well, I really love one-on-one. I love working with customers. I mean, a lot of times customers come in and they just want to browse, or they don't really want help, they're in a rush, whatever. But what I really love is when someone comes in and they tell me a little bit about the person they're buying it for, and I really walk them through the whole entire process. And I just love that. I love explaining about how it's made, the background of the artist. I just love that part. And then on the other side, I love working with my artists. Like, I love it when I find a new artist who maybe, is just starting out, and I try to work with them on different ways to market their things. I like to give them ideas of maybe other places to take their work. And I love to see them grow and thrive like that.
Awesome. All right, so what advice would you give somebody just starting out in business? And it can be a hard shop like you, it can be a store, it can be anything. You're one of the best entrepreneurs that I know. So what is one piece of advice that you could give an entrepreneur starting out in business?
I would say that doing your homework is really important. I know that I spent a long time writing a business plan. I talked to the Downtown Frederick Partnership. I made sure I found the right location. And also staying true to yourself, being unique. I think that's really important. Sometimes you see something that you think, oh, look, that person's doing a good job. Maybe I could do that.
Right.
That's great. It's good to be inspired, but I think you really have to search inside yourself and see what is it that makes you different. I mean, because that's what's gonna put you apart from the rest. And I think that's extremely important. Just be yourself and kind of follow your own heart.
Right. Yeah. If you don't have a passion with what you're doing every day.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard, and if people put together business plans and put together business models for monetary purposes, that's tough.
Right.
If all you're doing is searching after that monetary value, and it's not what your passion is.
Well, and I have to say, as far as the monetary, I've worked really hard and did all my numbers, talked to the library, talked to everybody, and my numbers were not right. But it's still so important to do the business plan, because it's not about the numbers. The reason I got my loan is because the bank said that they've never seen so many well thought out ideas. They saw the passion. So you know what? You can get your QuickBooks and you can figure out how to do the numbers, but if you don't actually have the dedication and the ideas to work through issues and to stick with it, then that's the biggest thing.
Right. All right. So in the last 3 years, well, we interviewed almost 2 years ago. So in the last 3 years, what's one choice that you've made that has led you to the success in where we are today?
I think the greatest gift that I've given myself in the last 3 years has really been to take more time for myself. When you have a business as long as I have, I feel like you have to constantly, reinvigorate yourself and come up with ways of keeping the passion alive. And so I think that by allowing my employees to kind of really, stand out and take charge of things and giving them a little more freedom, it's allowed me to pursue more of my passions. I mean, without having the employees that I have, I probably wouldn't be able to, write my article and do some of the art that actually ultimately comes back and helps the business. I feel more creative, I feel happier. So I would say in the last 3 years, just allowing myself some time off.
Okay. Yeah, that's tough to find somebody that cares as much as you do, and when you find as employees, you got to keep them.
Right.
All right, so you're episode 126, meaning I've done 125 other interviews. I have found that I gain so much by asking you questions, getting insight into you and your personal life and how you grew your business and other entrepreneurs. I want to flip the script here a second, and you ask me a question.
Well, seeing that Christmas is coming, what is on your Christmas list?
That is a great question. So what's on my Christmas list? My wife and I recently got back from a trip to Italy with 2 friends of ours. We had planned that for about 1.5 years. I'm not so much into the actual things. I'm more into the experiences. So I don't know, maybe my wife could surprise me with another trip, another experience. I like going out and meeting people and seeing the other parts of the world. We've been to Italy, all parts of the U.S. Boston's one of my favorite cities. Went to Chicago this year. And all that's, and that's about giving our kids experiences too. They didn't go to Italy with us; they went to the other places with us, and they will eventually go to Italy. So a trip.
That's great.
I'd like to get a trip.
That sounds good.
All right, so that's a good one. I like that question. Thanks, Whitney.
You're welcome.
So, what failure or loss has helped mold you that set you up for your success? And being in business 15, that is quite an accomplishment to have a small mom and pop cat owner. You're not real. Business for 15 years. So what failure set you up along the way that's led us to being in business for 15 years?
I would say that a lot of times people, that are entrepreneurs embrace change. I would say that I am not one of those people. So there have been some losses throughout the years that have actually turned out to be kind of positive for my business. We try to be really different in the store, so if another store starts carrying something that we already have, at first it's like I'm heartbroken because it's such a good seller, or just because we've had it in the store or it fits a category. But actually it's been things like that that have really pushed me to find something different and unique. You can't keep the same things in here, especially with all of our repeat customers. There's been there was a purse line that we really loved having in here, and everybody loved these purses, but it just seemed like it got to the point where everyone had the purses, so I had to switch. And we still have people asking for those purses, and I might bring them back. But it's changes like that that have pushed me to kind of make decisions that I might not have if I wouldn't have been forced into it.
All right, so for those that have not been to the Muse, I look around, I see jewelry, I see vases, I see artwork. What do you sell, and what don't you sell? It doesn't look like you have any clothes. Do we not sell clothes?
We have a few pieces of clothing. There's an artist, Jill Stern, and she is semi-local. She used to live right downtown, so it was really easy to do clothing with her because she could just bring in things and take away things that didn't sell. It was on consignment. So we do have a little bit, but mainly what we strive to do is mostly functional pieces, so you won't see a ton of prints or artwork. We do feature an artwork or an artist monthly that's more two-dimensional, but we really do try to think of things that you're going to use. Like, there are times when people come in and they say, I don't need any tchotchkes. I'm like, well, you're in luck because we don't have tchotchkes. Everything that is in here you can pretty much use. Right.
Cool. All right, so where do you see yourself, Whitney, in 3 years and then in 10 years?
Well, I think this is a very difficult question. Even though I'm a planner, I am not really good at planning that far in advance. I would say that probably both 3 years and 10 years, you can definitely find me creating. I love to do that in all different aspects. And just hopefully continuing with working with artists and really kind of, I think that I would probably like to get into a little more of that, kind of working with artists and kind of helping grow their business as well as my own. Okay.
So your business, is it all walk-in traffic here, or do you sell online too?
We sell pretty much walk-in.
Okay. And I imagine with your turnover and you featuring other local artists, other local collaborators, you're almost in business with 15 other people, right?
Yes.
Or 20 or however many.
Yeah,
right.
A lot.
Right.
Yeah, we don't really sell online. I mean, you can, we call it more one-on-one online shopping. So we will post things on Instagram, we'll post things on Facebook.
Right.
And then people will say, hey, I saw this really cool shirt you posted on Instagram, or this piece of jewelry, or this scarf. And we are happy to kind of say, well, this is what we have as far as the selection goes, and we're happy to ship it to someone. So things change so much that it would be really difficult to keep everything posted and online, and it's all one of a kind. So
gotcha. All right, so where are you located, hours, and any specials you have? I know in the pre-interview we had talked about, do you have some stuff coming up next year?
Yes, so we are at 19 North Market Street.
Okay.
We're on Facebook at Shop the Muse. On Instagram you can find us at Muse Frederick. I have a blog, themeditativestitcher.blogspot, which kind of ties all of it together.
Okay.
And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. And your hours?
Our hours, we are open every single day.
Every day? You don't even take a day off?
I take a day off, but we are open every day. Monday through Thursday, we are open regular hours 10 until 6. Friday and Saturday, we're open 10 until 9. And on Sundays, 12 to 5.
Awesome. Listeners, viewers, I hope you enjoyed Whitney's interview, her second interview on Frederick Advice Heroes. We got a little bit different nuggets this time, bits of information. I wanted you to come in and see the store, so that's why we did the video format. Whitney is, tell us what you do with your nonprofit. Let's touch on that real quick.
My friend and Muse artist, Courtney Prawl, and I, I think it was like 10 years ago, I don't know how many years ago, but we started something we call Lend a Hand, where we sell blank canvases to anyone who wants to purchase them for $20 starting in June. We come up with kind of a theme for the year. One year we gave out fortune cookies, and people had to do artwork based on the fortune. Anyone can participate, and they basically will do a piece of artwork in whatever medium they like, and they bring it back in September, and we put it up for auction the middle of September through first Saturday in October is when it closes, and we were able to raise over $9,000 this year.
Awesome. And you pick a different charity every year? Is
yes,
that okay? And this year was Blessings?
This year was Blessings in a Backpack. But
awesome.
We love all the local ones. We've done Children of Incarcerated Parents Partnership, which I know you're very familiar with, and Student Homelessness Initiative Partnership. Those are some of our favorite ones to give to. But yeah, we'll be.
So how do you pick? Do they nominate themselves? Do people nominate, or you go around and find them and then you rotate, or what do you do?
The first couple of years we kind of picked, and it just seemed like we were giving to some nonprofits that maybe had, they were not necessarily started by people that were passionate about the organization, the people we were working with, I will say that. And so we decided that someone had to kind of come to us with their story, and when Hermine came with Blessings in a Backpack, she was the first more kind of nonprofit that was started by an individual like that. She was telling me about the organization because she wanted me to hang a poster, and I felt like she was tearing up, and she had so much passion, and I could feel that, and I thought this woman and this organization would really appreciate anything that we could do for them. And I mean, we didn't even have to think twice. It was a decision right then. And since then we have had people come to us, and it's been a similar situation.
And that's the beautiful thing, is the charities that you're giving back to are all local. So the money stays all in Frederick, which is what I've found throughout this year doing the Impact Club, is that there's so many charities that are local that need people like you, people that give back to the community. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
So check out the Muse at 19 North Market Street. Whitney, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
And we are out.